Hello students, this is Gajanan Bhate from Prabhat Kids School. Hello students, how are you? I think it's been a very tough time for everybody of us because we people are confined to our houses. We cannot go out. The atmosphere is very disappointed. And in this atmosphere, sometimes we may feel just to go somewhere in the forest and to enjoy the pristine beauty of nature. But it's not possible. Friends, this corona pandemic, it has revealed the downsides of urbanization. And that is not the feeling of we people. It is the feeling of our poet W.B. Yeats in the poem The Lake Isle of Innisfree. So students, the poem for 9th standard today we are going to learn, that is The Lake Isle of Innisfree. It is written by W.B. Yeats. Now let me introduce the poem and the theme of the poem. Innisfree is actually an uninhabited island on the Lake Logill in County Sligo. It is near the Ireland, the coast of Ireland. In his childhood, the poet spent a lot of time there. So he has a great attachment for this place. And today, when he's been living in London, he's not satisfied with the materialistic life, with the noise and pollution. He's not contented. So he just want to skip all the things and want to go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. Now, Innisfree, this beautiful poem is written in 3 quatrains. Now, what is quatrain? Actually, quatrain means a stanza of 4 lines. So, this actually it reveals the state of mind of the poet, how he longs for peace and tranquility. So, it is all about the introduction of the poem. Now, about the poet. The poet is basically an Irishman. He was born in 1865 in Dublin, Ireland. This particular poem, it was written in 1888. W.B. Yeats, he received Nobel Peace Prize for literature. He is actually regarded one of the most important figures of 20th century. He is a very versatile writer as well as a poet. Now about the title of the poem, The Lake Isle of Innisfree. Isle means actually island. This title of this poem, it's very unique or it's very appropriate because the poet, he longs to go there and it is actually actual place. It's not something imaginary. It is an actual place. So he wants to go there and wants to enjoy the pristine beauty of nature. So the title, it creates somewhere curiosity in our minds. The picturesque description he has given us, it makes us a little conscious about the place. So the title is very appropriate, that's been given. Okay students, now I read the poem for you. I'll arise and go now and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honeybee, and live alone in the bee-loved glade. This first stanza, it introduces the intention of the poet. What he longs, what he wants, what intention he has. I'll rise and go now. Meaning of arise, actually to get up. He'll get up and he'll go to Innisfree. He longs to go to Innisfree to enjoy the pristine beauty of nature and a small cabin built there. What is by cabin? Cabin means actually a small hut. He wants to build a small cabin there. This word is very indicative. Small. Small means he wants to live there all alone. He doesn't want to be surrounded with buses and vehicles and all kind of pollution. Just he wants to enjoy the pristine beauty of nature. So he'll build a small cabin there of clay and wattles. Now what is clay? Clay means actually mud. I think many of you may know in rural areas, in villages, the huts are generally plastered with mud, and the roofs and the walls are made of wattles. Wattle means sticks, flexible sticks which are used to make the walls and roofs. So the cabin will be built, the hut will be built of mud and wattles means sticks. 9 pin rows will I have there. Now he'll have cabin, he'll live there, he'll require some food to have, and his requirement will be fulfilled by beans. He'll grow some beans there. At the same time, he'll require a hive for the honeybees. Honeybees, he wants to be surrounded by the natural phenomena and live alone in the bee-loved glade. What is bee-loved glade? That is open space. And in this open space, when there is nothing, any kind of conjunction, he wanted to live there. So in this first stanza, the poet's intention has been revealed that he wants to go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. He'll build a small cabin there that is made of clay and wattles. Then he'll plant some beans, and he'll have some honey hive for honeybees. And in this way, in the very natural surroundings, he wants to live there. Now students, let's learn about the poetic devices. First, rhyming scheme. See students, Innisfree, A. Mates is not rhyming, so it's B. Then honeybee is rhyming with Innisfree, that's why A. And glade is rhyming with B. So the rhyming scheme of the poem is A, B, A, B. What is the rhyming scheme? A, B, A, B. Okay. Now poetic devices. First line, I'll arise and go now and go to Innisfree. Go, go. These words are repeated. At the same time, this line is also repeated in stanza number 3. So this is an example of repetition. What is? The first line is example of repetition. Repetition means when the lines are repeated for poetic effect. That is repetition. Second line, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. Students, just tell me, do you think that the order of the sentence is correct? No, it's not correct. It's something revised or it's something changed. The correct order would be, and I'll build a small cabin there of clay and wattles made. So it is example of inversion. The second one is inversion, poetic device. Now what is inversion? When the order is changed for poetic effect, that is called inversion. Okay. In third, 9 bin rows will I have there. Here also the order is changed. It would be I will have 9 bin rows there. So again it is inversion. The next one is hive and honeybee, HH. The repetition of consonant sound for poetic effect, that is called alliteration. This is called alliteration. And live alone in the bee-loved glade. Here there is no rhyme, there is no poetic device. So in this way, the first stanza describes the poet's intention. Now student, the second stanza. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the wheels of morning to where the cricket sings. The midnight's all a glimmer and a purple glow, and evening full of linnet's wings. In this second stanza, he clearly reveals the reason why he longs to go to travel to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. And the reason is very obvious, it's very clear, because of peace. He wants to go there for the sake of peace and tranquility of mind. Means, where right now he lives, in urban area, he is not happy, contented with that life. We have to read between the lines that he wants to live the place and he wants to live a very natural life. So, for peace, he would go there. And how peace embraces him. For peace comes dropping slow. Peace doesn't come abruptly or suddenly. It comes gradually. How it comes? He explains, dropping from the veils of morning. Dropping from the veils of morning. Now what is veils? Actually, fog. But what is the real meaning of veils? Veil is actually a curtain or a piece of cloth worn by women to cover their faces. Christian women and Muslims, and in many women generally cover their faces. So dropping from the veils of morning. So how morning comes, how peace comes, dropping from the veils of morning. When the fog is removed, or when the fog is converted into water drops or water droplets, the peace comes in this way to where the cricket sings. At the same time, what is peace for him? Peace is not utterly silence, but according to him, what peace? Peace is where cricket sings. He just wants to be obsessed with the natural sounds where the cricket sings. So peace for him, that is a dewdrops from the fog, the singing of the cricket. Now what is cricket? Cricket is a small insect, particularly male insect, that produces a chirping or that type of sound. That is called cricket. The midnight's all a glimmer. What is peace for him? When the midnight is full of stars. What is glimmers? Glimmering means shining. When the night over the Lake Isle of Innisfree, when the sky is full of stars and shining, and a purple glow, and noon a purple glow. And for him, what is peace? When the noon is reflected with purple glow light. Now why purple glow? Because of the purple color of the flowers and the reflection of that particular color. So for him, the night is full of stars, the noon, that is a reflection of purple glow, and evening full of linnet's wings. Now what is linnet? Linnet, it is a small grey bird. So evening, he just wants to be obsessed with the chirping of linnet's birds which are soaring high in the sky. Students, if you observe minutely, carefully, then you can understand that the poet has described all the 4 times, or we can say all the 4 periods of day. How? Morning, or you can say veils of morning, early in the morning or dawn. Then midnight, then noon, and then evening. Means dawn, midnight, evening, and noon. Means all the 4 periods of life or periods of day have been described by the poet, and just he wants to say us that all the 4 periods he'll get peace there, only peace, and he is obsessed for peace only. Now let's learn the poetic devices. Again, A rhyming scheme, dropping slow and glow. It is A. It is A. And sings and wings. B and B. Means the rhyming scheme of the poem. Here also in this stanza, that is A, B, A, B. Okay. Now poetic devices. And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow. Now if you observe peace, repetition of words or lines for poetic device, it is called repetition. In first line, that is repetition. Second line, dropping from the wheels of morning. Now will, it is human quality, it is attributed to morning. Means non-living things are treated as living. It is personification. What is this? It is personification. Wheels of morning, personified. So personification. At the same time, wheels of morning, actually wheels of morning, this word is used instead of fog. Means comparison. So here it is metaphor. Indirect comparison between two objects, that is metaphor. Where the cricket sings. The midnights all glimmer and a noon purple glow. If you observe, midnight, noon, two opposite words or ideas reconcile for poetic effect. This midnight and noon. So this poetic device is called antithesis. What is called antithesis? When two opposite ideas reconcile for poetic effect, antithesis. Then, now glimmer means shining and glow means shining. Actually both the words mean the same. So when two different words used for the same meaning, that is called tautology. What is tautology? When two different words used for the same meaning, that poetic device is called tautology. And in this way, these are the poetic devices of this stanza. Now move to the third stanza. Meanings and explanation. I'll rise and go now, for always day and night. I hear the lake water lapping with the low sounds by the shore. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep heart score. Now arise means again to get up. Then lapping, it is hit or striking. Then pavements, actually footpaths along the road. And what is deep heart score means deep inside the heart. Okay. Now the third stanza, it again begins with the emphasizing resolution given by the poet. What he says, I'll arise and go now, for always days and night. Night and day. He will always go there. Again and again, he would like to visit the place, the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So he emphasizes with resolution, I hear the lake water lapping with the sounds by the shore while I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey. Now where is he standing? He is standing on the roadway or on the pavement's grey. No? Roadway or pavements, these are the features of cities, urban areas. He is standing in city and he can hear the water lapping sound, the water sound, the lapping sound or striking sound of the water while he is standing on the roadways. You just imagine how obsessed he is with the thought of the Lake Isle of Innisfree. His mind is totally occupied with the thought of the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So he wants to go there again and again, and he can just hear, he can imagine, he can feel the sound of water lapping. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement screen. This line, it also indicates that he shakes himself from daydreaming, that whatever he is going to imagine is just an imagination. And here he addresses the real world. What real world? City life or urban life. The way every person wants to be a part of city life. Pollution, noise, crime, inhumanity. All these are the things or qualities attributed to city life, and he wants a long break from city life, and he wants to go to the Lake Isle of Innisfree. So that's why he concludes the poem with a very sad note, that I hear it in the deep heart score. What he hears? The sound of water lapping, or he just everything, whatever he imagined in the poem, he just listen it, not by his head but by his heart, because it is a very pure feeling. Understood, students? So in this way the poem is concluded here. Now rhyming scheme again. Day and grey. Again A, shore and core, B. Rhyming scheme is A, B. Okay. Now poetic devices. I'll rise and go now, for always night and day. Opposite words or ideas reconciled for poetic effect. That is called antithesis. What is antithesis? Poetic ideas reconciled for opposite ideas particularly. That is antithesis. In second, I hear the lake water lapping low, L. Consonant sound is repeated for poetic effect. That is alliteration. LL sound. While I stand on the roadway or on the pavement grey, I hear it in the deep heart score. Now here, I. Both the lines begin with I. When two consecutive lines begin with the same word, that is called anaphora. What is called anaphora? Both the lines begin with the same, that is, it is an example of anaphora. Okay, student, and finally, what is the message of the poem? What is the learning outcome of the poem? Students, we all know everybody wants to be a part of civilization, urbanization or urban areas. Nobody wants to live in villages. And because of this, the cities have become a very confined place for people to live because of the grey population. Because cities are unable to take the load of all these people. Pollution, crime, disarrangement. There are many things which are actually the qualities of urbanization. So the poet, he really wants to express his feelings here that the uninterrupted peace, if anybody wants, then you can just get it from villages or you can get it from nature. It is the only place that can give you uninterrupted peace. Because though we have all the materialistic freedom, we have all the possessions, all the luxuries, but people living in cities are not satisfied happy or peaceful. For the sake of tranquility, one has to go to forest. And this is actually a message